math lesson. Today we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. And this won't be terribly difficult. Once you figure out one little thing about them, that's their slope, you're going to be fine. So think about it. Two parallel lines. I have a line, I have another line. What do I know about their slope? Can you see that if I had a graph here and I had a line and then I had another line, they have the same exact slope, right? Parallel lines, the reason why they're parallel and they never touch each other is because they're running right alongside each other with the same slope, like railroad tracks. Perpendicular lines are a little bit tougher. Perpendicular lines, they cross and their slopes end up being opposite reciprocals of each other. But I'll get more to that later. Let's start with parallel. If you look in your book, example 1 gives you an example of something that we would do with parallel lines. And it just says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through -3, 5. So this line eventually is going to pass through that point and is parallel to the graph of y equals 2x minus 4. All right, so it's not going to be this line, but it's parallel to this line, and it's going to go through that point. So what information are we going to harvest from here? We're going to harvest the slope, because eventually we're going to want to know the slope for us to write slope-intercept form. So the slope is going to be 2. The slope of this line is 2, but we also know the slope of our parallel line is 2. Does that make sense? So our slope is 2, and we know it goes through that point. So we just learned about point-slope form, so why don't we just use that to write this equation? Remember, point-slope form is y minus y1, which in this case would be 5, equals slope, which in this case is 2, times x minus x1, which is -3, so it'll end up being +3 because minus a negative, right? So there we have it. Now all we got to do is just kind of simplify it, and we have a slope-intercept form. So y minus 5 equals 2x plus 6. Add the 5 to the other side. Y equals 2x plus 11. And we have it. That is our new equation that has the same slope, but it's now passing through that line. Okay, does that make sense? So they'll give you a line, you harvest the slope out of that, take it, and then use it and put it through your new point. It's almost going to be the same if we have perpendicular, except remember that I said that the slopes are going to be opposite reciprocals. So we're going to do example 4 in your book. And it just says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through -4 and 6 and is perpendicular to the graph of 2x plus 3y equals 12. All right, so getting back to what I was saying, if the slope of a line is 2, then the slope of a line perpendicular to that is going to be the opposite reciprocal, so it's going to be -1/2. If the slope was 3/4, then the slope of the parallel line, the perpendicular line, sorry, I keep messing that up, would be -4/3. Okay, does that make sense? Opposite reciprocals. So first thing we need to do is figure out what the slope of this line is. And they didn't give it to us in a nice handy slope-intercept form, so let's just change it around. Remember, we want y equals mx plus b. So let's move the x to the other side. So we got 3y, and we'll move it over and make it -2x plus 12. I put it in front because I kind of want it in the same form, y equals mx plus b. And then I need to divide by 3, and I'll just divide that one by 3 and divide that one by 3. And eventually I can get it down to negative 2/3 x plus 4. So that slope-intercept form, remember what I'm going to take from it is I'm going to take the slope. This time it's not parallel, so I can't just take that and plop it in there. I need to think that it's perpendicular, and so it's going to be the opposite reciprocal. So my new slope is going to be 3/2. All right. What do I do with that slope? Well, I just put it in point-slope form, and I use that point, and we can figure this out. Okay, I'm going to do it over here. So y minus y1, and my new slope is going to be 3/2, and x minus negative 4, so x plus 4. Simplify this, y minus 6 equals 3/2 x, and 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2, so it's going to be plus 6. Move that 6 over, y equals 3/2 x plus 12, and there I have my new formula for a line that's perpendicular to this one, and it goes through that point. Okay, hope that made sense. See you tomorrow.